So this one is going to get into a personal topic. Is
everything we do is personal.
Everything we do is personal, but this one is, I don't know, kind of fresh. We had a conversation yesterday that got kind of heated, but we noticed it's like a bigger problem, and it's also something that is probably very common, specifically to couples who just had a new baby. Like, I feel like it's very specific to that group. So if you have kids, you might be like, yup, I get it. If you're in a relationship where it's serious and it could lead there, this might be helpful. But it was something that when I told Travis I wanted to talk about it, he kind of looked at me like, I guess because we haven't really figured it out yet.
Let's do it live.
It's a work in progress, but I feel like it's something we need to be vulnerable about. So how did we get into a fight yesterday?
We got into a fight because I think the baby was hungry. Mm-hmm. And I was holding the baby and he was like, I think he's ready for a bottle. Mm-hmm. And I said, can you go make it for me really quick? No, I said, hold him while I go and make it really quick.
And I was like, no, just take him with you.
And I think I can't remember what I said.
You kind of just were like, haha, like brushed it off and still left me the baby. And I was triggered. And I got up, I picked up the baby, I went to the kitchen, and I was making the bottle.
She stormed past me. And I'm like, what's going on? I thought it was like everything in life. I thought it was a joke at first. And then I quickly picked up on you were really, look at you cracking your knuckles. I picked up on that you were seriously upset. Mm-hmm.
And I was just making the bottle, holding the baby with one hand.
So I took the baby. I'm like, give me the baby. What's happening right now?
Yeah. And his thinking is, so I would say things like, when I'm home by myself, I can't leave the baby anywhere to do anything. Like, I need to take a shit, the baby's coming with me to the bathroom, like, so if you had to make a bottle, just take him with you. And I would instantly kind of compare and do this tit for tat. Like, when I'm home alone, I have to do this, which isn't fair, right? Because we're a team, we're together. You don't have to wonder what it's like to do it alone because you aren't alone.
And that's my thinking in the moment. It's like, why do I have to make it more? Why do I have to balance a baby because you do it?
Exactly. And that's not fair. That's not fair to put that pressure, right? But at the same time, it's like, there are times when I just need a moment, right? And although you're like, it seems so like, just hold the baby while I make a bottle. In my head, it's like, I'm enjoying this piece, this moment to myself on the couch. Just take him with you. Like, how do we pick and choose which moment is more?
I don't know the answer to it, but I just view it, we're a team. Mm-hmm. And that moment, I knew, and I know for a fact, although you know, I felt like you were upset and you wanted to prove a point by taking the baby and going to make a bottle. And it's seconds, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, I could do it by myself in 30 seconds as opposed to having the baby and maybe it'll take me 60 seconds. Mm-hmm. But I just figure it's quick. I'm back. Whatever piece you're having at this moment, you'll get it right back in 30 seconds. It's not like I'm not trying to rain on your parade. Mm-hmm.
And I know it's not something you do on purpose. So of course, this is an issue we're having. So I'm like trying to figure out what's causing it, what the triggers are. And something that has come up when I talk to other moms is sensory overload, touch overload. Like, when you go to work during the week, I'm alone with the kids for 12 hours. You're gone from 5 a.m. till 5:30 p.m., right? That's 12 hours of the day where I don't have anybody to say, hold the baby while I do this, right? And yeah, you're at work. It's not like you're chilling and you're hanging out. But when you do come home and there's only 3 hours before bedtime, I kind of need a minute to myself because throughout the entire day, I didn't have that chance.
And I hear you. And I'm willing to give you that. But also, although I'm not with kids, mm-hmm. my mental strain is different from yours, but it's still there. I'm still coming home, and it's, whatever I think I'm going to be able to accomplish when I get home always goes out the window. Or I'm like, I'm going to go home, I'm going to sit there and just watch mindless TV, or I'm going to play video games, or I'm going to do something. But that's never the case because we have responsibilities. We have an 8-year-old, a 5-month-old, so there are things that have to be done. So, I don't want it to be a situation where I come to the door like that that joking video that we made where you're like, oh, daddy's home.
And I'm clocking out, quote unquote.
I don't know the answer, but I don't want it to be this thing where, all right, you're off, so you're 100% on.
Yeah. And I don't think that's ever been the case. And then back to comparing like your work. Both of what we each do individually is valued in this family. What you have to do to provide for us is 100% valued. What I do to take care of the home and take care of the kids, I know it's 100% valued. So I don't think it has anything to do with one is better than the other, one deserves more respect than the other, one is harder than the other. But what I do want you to acknowledge is that they're different. You talk to different adults. You're on the bus for part of the day. You're in the office. You're walking to get some Chick-fil-A. And it's all, you're only responsible for yourself. And you are, sensory is exposed to so many different things. I'm 12 hours a mom to a baby who needs to be on top of me, who needs to be fed, who needs to be clothed. And it could get a little bit mundane and a little bit overwhelming and a little bit exhausting in a different type of way, if that makes sense.
I get you. And I don't know what that's like. I've been with the baby for a few hours without you. Like I can't say I've been with the baby 12 plus hours. I know those few hours can be tough. So 3 times that I can't imagine. I'm not saying you're not working. You're on vacation. I'm not one of those men. I'm not one of those people who thinks it's just like it's simple. I just think we need to try and figure out how to get on the same page with this thing. So it's not like I'm nervous to hand you the baby or ask you to do something. Like one thing that has gone unspoken between us is that because you primarily breastfeed, whenever I'm home, change the diaper. Yeah. It's just, we don't argue about it. It's like, oh, the baby needs to be changed. Even if he's with you and you smell the stinky diaper, it's like, here, babe, go change it. And I'm happy to do that. Yeah. I think I've said this on the podcast before, is because I'm limited in what I could give him physically. So it's like, if I can take that off your whatever, I'm happy to do that. But it's just the other stuff that it's tough to maneuver without triggering an argument. Yeah. And in those 12 hours I'm home, very few times have I felt overwhelmed and tired. And I would text you like, oh, we're having a rough day. He's fussy. We're going to just chill on the couch and do nothing. And that's very few times. Like, I'm not home like counting down the minutes for you to get here. Again, it has happened, but very rarely. So even when I'm having a great day as a mom, I think when you do have him, subconsciously, I'm like getting into like my me time. So then when you ask me to hold him, I feel like it triggers like, oh, fuck. I'm going back into the space that I'm kind of resting from right now without even realizing it. So I'm not sure if this happened today, but you can, I love honesty. Hopefully you're always honest with me.
Oh, God, I'm scared.
So today I gave the baby a bath. And then I asked you to put him down because I was going to set up the podcast. You gave me, I think you said something. I can't remember if you said something, but then you just kind of took the baby to put him down.
No, you said, oh, do you want to take him while I do the pod? I said, no, he should be taking a nap. But then I still took him. I didn't want to.
Almost like a few seconds later, like you had a moment where you ran through a bunch of scenarios.
I didn't run through scenarios. I think I was just honest. Like, nope, I don't want to take him. But I know that I have to right now, Okay, so there wasn't no, like a moment of anger. No, it was just more like, honestly, no. But he got to take a nap. And I kind of got up and took him. Which leads to, I think, could be an easy way for us to maneuver that. I feel like when you went to make him the bottle, you asked me, like, can you hold him while I make the bottle? And when I said no, you kind of like, I feel like maybe just honoring those little moments. And I'm like, just take him. Like, I just need a second. If that's okay.
Yeah. And, what do you think your biggest challenge is being a stay-at-home mother?
Whew. Where do I start? Honestly, it's not having a check. Like, to me, not that we're struggling financially. It's just the way I was raised to have my own and make money. And we paid $40,000 for a master's degree that I'm not using. So I think literally all of my banking apps, you know how on the iPhone, if you don't use anything, it deletes. Everything's like undownloaded from my phone, where I used to be so aware of all my accounts, what I need to change to savings. I used to check the Vanguard account, the high yield savings account. Every paycheck, I was like, so that is kind of weird for me. And even the earlier I said, we should have like a finance talk, because it's just weird for me not to. So that's hard.
Finances aside, though.
Finances aside, I guess I haven't had a moment where I'm like, because there's some women who are like, oh, I don't know how you do it. I can't do this. I could totally see myself doing it forever. Like being that stay-at-home mom. I guess setting the right expectations is hard.
For yourself.
For myself, because in my head, laundry will be done, the beds are made, and food's on the table when you get home at 5:30. And like, that's not realistic, at least not with a newborn. Like, it's been rough, especially with this move. We've eaten out more times than I would like to admit, but it's just, by the time 5:30 comes around, we're dead. I'm exhausted,
And sometimes, I'm guilty of this. I get home and she's had a crazy day, and although you haven't been able to start dinner, I'm like, the idea of you starting dinner now.
And I could start dinner at 5:36, but you're like, oh, you haven't started? Then forget it. Let's just chill on the couch instead and like order, because it's easier, it's quicker. We don't got to clean the kitchen. It's just easy and done, which I get. And then I also think you do get home at 5:30. We put the kids down at 8:30. We want to get to bed by 9:30, 10. So we're like, our time together is so limited. Like, do I want to spend an hour and a half in the kitchen?
And that's how I weigh it. To me, it's a no-brainer. Order the food, have more time with your partner, and yeah, whatever. I'll deal with the financial
But yeah, no, like we said earlier, it's not even about the finances for me. I love food.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't want that shit we be ordering. Like, I want my food at home.
Like, we definitely got a few more options out here, but I'll always take a cooked meal.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like adjusting my expectations has been hard. Setting better expectations. And then also comparing my life to other people's lives.
You do that?
Not in terms of like what I would be doing without kids, but like comparing myself to other moms. Like, what fun activities they get to do with their kids, what food are their kids eating, or what extracurricular activities are their kids in. Like, in that sense, like I kind of compare myself like that.
I think there was one time you had River like watching TV and you're like, oh, ruined him forever. It's like, sometimes you need it.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's watching mindless TV. It's like someone attempting to.
Oh, you know what happened that day? He was having one of the days where he was fussy and I couldn't figure him out. I didn't know what to do. He wouldn't nurse. Like the teether wasn't working. I was standing with him. It wasn't working. I was talking to him. It wasn't working. And then I kind of was reaching my like, I need a moment. So I just put him in the bouncer and put the TV on. He instantly stopped crying. And that's when I got sad. Because I'm like, oh my God, he wanted TV. Like, he's already addicted to the TV or something, which isn't the case. He probably was just tired of crying. It was probably, I don't know. But I was like, oh my God, fuck my life.
And I also, I know every parent has different views on those type of things, but if your baby is quote unquote addicted to watching something that's educational, is it the end of the world?
Listen, screen time, my worry is that it's high sensory. Like, it's loud, it's bright, it's colorful. So then when your kid goes to sit in a classroom, they're going to be so bored and so like unfocused because they're expecting like all the time, which is why the kids, when they're on the video games, all that, and they have short attention spans at school. So that's my worry with it. I'm not 100% against it. Like, there's some parents who like don't have TV at all. And I don't know. I think everything's okay in moderation. But in that moment, also, let's not forget, I'm still not 100% not hormonal. And I was feeling defeated. And then the TV made him stop crying after I was like struggling for an hour. So it made me feel like, oh my God, I'm such a terrible mom. But I'm fine. I'm over it.
So what's our conclusion? Because I feel like we spoke about it, but like where's the meeting ground here for us as a team?
Honestly, I don't know. I didn't say this, that another thing as a mom, like one of my most important role and my most important job is to make sure that my kids are safe, right? And well taken care of. And although it's dark, I want to know that, God forbid anything happens to me, that you can take care of the kids. So I feel like sometimes maybe it's like that fear of like, could he do this on his own? You know? And fuck that. Fuck the darkness of me not being here one day. Like, I'm also a very like independent person and I like my life. And I eventually want to go on a trip. And I don't want to have to wait till River's 5 years old to be like, I could leave for a weekend and Travis could watch the kids. So I think maybe subconsciously that's like a thing. Like, could he do this alone? You know, like you stood alone with River for what, like 4 or 5 hours for the first time last weekend. And it was like, you okay? You're going to be okay? And like, you know?
Yeah. I know I know any pressure that's put on me for anything in my life, not just being a parent, I can rise to the occasion and get it done.
Yeah.
And it's something I pride myself on. Like, I can handle it. Mm-hmm. I just don't feel like I always have to because I have you. Mm-hmm. And I don't think
because you're like, I don't have to prove it to you because we're here, we're together. Like, that's not gonna happen. It's kind of like with the food. I'm like, what if I'm not here? You and Eli are gonna eat Chipotle all the time? You're like, you need to make food. And it's like, well, if you died, I'd learn how to cook. That's kind of like your mindset. Like, I do it when I have to, but since I don't have to,
chill.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's I get it. Like, we are a partner. We're in a partnership. So as long as we have each other, neither of us have to struggle. But we also need to make sure we can handle these things on our own. What?
I was going to say I can, but, obviously you need some action behind these words.
Mm-hmm. I need you to prove it. Because those are my babies. What?
That's all I got.
Do you feel like there's been any solution here?
Not
or
really.
Any like moving forward if we're going to move differently in any way?
I feel like moving forward, I will definitely do my best to not to do things more independently. Obviously there are certain situations where it just makes sense, like back me up here. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But like the example of us being on the couch together, I could have just gotten up and made the bottle. That's a minor inconvenience as far as adding like 30 seconds more to the process. But I'm not going to be afraid now to just ask for help.
Yeah.
In general.
No, and I don't want you to.
I think today was also another prime example. It's like, hey, I'm going to set up the podcast. Can you back me up by putting the baby down for a nap?
But and also when you said he needs a bath, And you were like, and I think I asked you something like, no, I'm going to take him a bath now.
No, you said he's probably due for a nap. I said, I'm going to go take him a bath.
Yeah. And I was all right. So you want me to help you set up? And like while you changed his diaper or took his diaper off, I set up the tub. Like it's a partnership at the end of the day.
And that's my point.
Yes, but we have to respect when we need space. And I feel like that's true for you too. Like if you, yeah, I know you were with River all fucking day, but I really need a moment to myself. Work was really, really hard. Like you should be able to express that to me as well.
I think I will definitely struggle there.
Do you think you have felt that way, but you just pushed through it?
Hell yeah.
But I don't think that's fair.
It's,
now, if we both had shitty days, then we're going to have to eat it because it's just us. But like if you've had a, significantly shittier day than I did, like you should be able to vocalize just needing a moment.
And I don't want this to come across as I don't, home is my peace, right?
Yeah.
But, anyone with kids knows it's not always easy. It's not always just smiles and hugs and kisses. It's tantrums and kids talking back to you and a bunch of other things, right? Mm-hmm. So there are times where I have a stressful day at work and I'm like, oh, work's finally over. And then it's like, but is it?
Yeah, that's real.
I guess it's just I think what we can agree on is that we're both a work in progress. And
you just made me think of something that's making me a little sad. I remember when earlier in our relationship, well, we were already married. We got married so fast, but Eli had some tough years and I was always super busy. And it would be like my getaway, like being at work, being in school was just like a moment to not have to deal with motherhood, and it's sad and it's hard to admit it, but there were times when I just didn't want to face it. Like I didn't know what to do. So I totally get like, my day's still not over.
Yeah. I was basically going to say that I think we've come to a mutual agreement that it's a work in progress, and the fact that we're even having these tough conversations is a step in the right direction. I don't think we should see it as a failure that we can't say, all right, this is the answer.
Yeah.
But we just know it's a thing and we have to address it when it comes up.
I feel like it always comes back to communication as well, because if we replay that moment where you were like, haha, like I'm gonna just leave him, because I feel like you were so comfortable to do that because that's usually what we do. You would just leave him and go make the bottle and I would just hold him like, but when I was like, no, I really, like I could have just been more explicit with that and then expected you to like honor it. Instead, I kind of it was like I was triggered. I got up, I was upset and I was like, I am woman, hear me roar. I'm going to do it all by myself. Like, fuck out of here. I don't need nobody.
Except me.
And then you told me I love bomb you. We never talked about that. I was like,
oh, fuck. You're really putting it all out there.
Yeah. Because love, when you say someone loves bomb you, it's like someone who mistreats you, abuses you verbally or whatever in type of way.
Maybe I didn't have the right language. I can't believe we're talking about this. Maybe I didn't have the right language, but I was upset because right before that moment, and me and Steph are very expressive with one another. Like we're
very affectionate
and expressive. Mm-hmm. It's like, I love you so much. You mean this to me. It's a lot.
We ooze love.
It's a lot in a good way. Like I love it. I love everything about it. And right before that moment, right before that argument, you were doing that. Mm-hmm. And I was loving it like I always do. Mm-hmm. And then immediately something triggered you or I triggered you. Mm-hmm. And it was like, that's gone. So when I was expressing myself, it's like, it's a mind fuck when you could just be, and I use the word love bombing me. And then all of a sudden it's like, you're upset that fucks with me. And I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, that's just the Gemini. Like, you know, I don't believe in that zodiac shit. So,
like, I was just hot and cold. Like
you're not gonna be hot and cold with me. Like, I don't like that. And I understand there's, you know, life is nuanced. It's not always gonna be just you pouring love into me. There's times where we're gonna have to face difficult things, but that specific moment, I was like on cloud 9 because, you know, we're having in my opinion, a pretty good weekend, you know, good conversations, good TV. We had great sex. It was just, it was, you know, top tier weekend.
Yeah.
And then boom, Travis does something that triggers you. And it's like, all right, now it's like, fuck Travis, you know, fuck all what I was talking about. You know,
I didn't say that.
We smoking on that Travis back tonight.
I didn't say any of that, but I was really upset. I was triggered. I was, but be careful with the word love bomb, because that kind of sounds like when someone's just nasty to you, but then they have moments of smothering you in love to make you forget.
And that's not how I feel. It was poor use of words, poor use of language. I don't know the right word for what I was feeling, but it was just.
I think you're just like, you know how you feel about me in general. This is a moment. Tone it down.
Without telling an angry black woman to tone it down.
like, okay, come back to me. Like, feel your feelings, but remember everything you were just saying 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.